Hello, welcome to There Will Always Be Another Book. Today I'm talking about The Paper Menagerie and Other Short Stories by Ken Liu. And to give general impressions, this is a 4-star book, 4 out of 4 stars. And I'll talk about some of the short stories, but my general impression of Ken Liu, so far, this is the only book of his that I've read. I have the first book of Grace of Kings, which I want to get around to, but it just hasn't lined up. There's other things that have taken priority over it. And I do like fantasy, so I'm sure I'll like it. But really, my introduction to Ken Liu was through the translation of The Three-Body Problem, which is still a tiny bone to pick. I don't know if I would be annoyed about this or not if I was in his position, but it's a bit annoying that if you search Ken Liu in like Book Depository or something, the first book that comes up is The Three-Body Problem. Like, so much so that I thought Ken was Cixin Liu's white name. And so I bought The Paper Menagerie thinking it was the same author, and then I looked him up and I was like, oh, this is a different guy. But alas. Still, some of the stories in this, I would say my general impression of Ken Liu is that his stories range from great to okay. There's no stories that are bad, but there are some that I feel like maybe show their age. And some of them that are... Maybe the biggest criticism that I have about Liu is that some of his short stories just feel like they are mediums for him to tell like an interesting kind of historical story, and he sort of just makes up a fiction story in order to facilitate that. But there are some times when it works, like with the story The Literomancer, which I think worked really well. And then there are some times where I'm just like, I feel like I would rather have just spent the time going and reading Wikipedia and learning about this as opposed to tolerating this short story, because it just spends so much time. So much time is just recounting historical events that are interesting, but not how long it takes, because you need to set up these characters and everything. So the story that I have in mind is The Man Who Ended History, which is about the story of Unit 731. And if you just want to have a bad day, look it up on Wikipedia, look up what it is. And the idea that Ken Liu had in that story is really interesting. It's basically like, I can't remember the scientific explanation for it, but let's just say with magic, we beam out into the universe at the light that's going out, and we can use that light to see into the past. But the problem is that once you go and you look at it, you've stopped that light and you've absorbed it into like your eyeballs or your cameras, which means that you've ended that past, that history, which is like, the story is a documentary about that, and like they want to use this technology to go back and see the events of Unit 731. And there are some interesting things, but the story sort of falls flat because I'm just like, man, I feel like I've wasted so much time, and I've wasted so much time in comparison to how little I've learned, where afterwards, the first thing I did was just look up, and I was like, wow, this is actually a really interesting history. But this short story, The Man Who Ended History, felt like just a kind of not too fleshed out excuse to talk about it. But I don't have a problem with that, because it can work really well with something like The Literomancer, like I said, which talks about the kind of lives of some people who escaped China to live in Taiwan, and people in Taiwan who were suspecting them of being like communist spies. Really, really good. Like I might have mentioned that some of the stories feel like they're a bit dated, like The Perfect Match, which talks about an AI that a basically quasi Alexa that's making suggestions for a person, kind of just based purely on statistics and not taking into account like personal ideas or preference. It's very Black Mirror vibes, but yeah, it just feels a little bit like, oh, okay, yeah, this is. It just feels a little bit dated. I don't know. There are some nice, just kind of like wholesome, cute stories in it, like the bookmaking habits of select species. The Paper Menagerie, the titular story, is probably the best. Although I would also give I would also probably give that title to the story All the Flavors, which is a really, like, again, I guess this story is just is an excuse to talk about a historical thing, but it feels better in All the Flavors, because pretty much the story is about the Chinese immigration to America during the gold rush, not the cold rush, but and like the lives of the American immigrants who had to live there. But the fascinating thing is that one of the characters is Guan Yu, the god of war. But the story is interesting because while all of their lives are happening, Guan Yu is introducing Chinese flavors to this white American girl, and so it works out really well, and that's another really great story. And so to some degree, I'm keen to check out some more of Liu's work. I do really want to read The Grace of Kings, because it would be nice to read some fantasy that's not explicitly inspired by Western mythology or religion. But yeah, sorry, just taking a quick gander. Good Hunting, if you've seen Love, Death and Robots, which is it's okay. There's one of Ken Liu's stories was made into an episode, so you'll be able to find it and read it, and it's pretty beat for beat actually. Although the story, even though being still quite short here, it's only about 20 pages. It's a little bit more fleshed out than the Love, Death and Robots episode is. The thing with Liu is that a lot of his stories are focused on talking about the Chinese American experience, and it's something that I can get behind. Sometimes it feels forced, although actually, let me think about it, because I don't think any of the Chinese American ideas or themes are ever forced, but sometimes he has forced ideas in his stories. So I don't know. He does sometimes use characters as a means to an end, but that's also just something that will happen in short stories. Like, alternatively, you can look at someone like Borges, who creates these amazing worlds, but you don't always get a clear idea or message or theme at the end of it. Again, I really like Ted Chiang, and I think he strikes the perfect balance of coming up with a cool world, but also having great messages and themes. Ken Liu, I still think this book is worth reading. At the very least, for the titular story, The Paper Menagerie. That's a story that has made me really, really want to get off my butt and go and learn my native language, which is Greek, which I don't speak at all. But that's another story where I think Ken just hit it out of the park. So yeah, I don't know. The thing is, I don't know if he really thrives in a short story environment. Sorry, I don't know how bad the noise pollution is, but I think there's some kids just having an absolute ball at the park across the road. But I'll wrap up in a second. I don't know if he thrives in short story format. He did say in the introduction that he started as a short story writer, but I guess just wait till the next episode, maybe a year down the track after I've read Grace of Kings. The thing is, I have the first and the third book. I have The Veiled Throne because I got it on sale, and so I just bought it. But I don't have the second book, so now I'm in a position where I maybe want to read, the entire. I think it's actually a tetralogy by now. There are 4 books out, right? Anyway, so I don't know. Maybe it will be a while before I can make a video, and I'll probably do. If I really like it. Oh, this is the thing. If I like it, I will just read the whole thing, and then I'll make a video about the whole quadrilogy. But if I don't like it, I'll probably just not make a video about it. So yeah, I guess we'll be waiting for that. But nevertheless, give Paper Menagerie a go. And also, I've heard that is it The Hidden Girl or something like that? There's either the word girl or the word hidden in it. If it's not The Hidden Girl, I think that's also a Ken Liu collection. Let me know if it's good. Let me know if it's as good as the Paper Menagerie collection, and if it's worth checking out. Thank you for watching. I hope you keep on reading because there will always be another book, and I'll see you in the next video.